And next we have Jasmine, she, her, from Canada. Christian schools and compromised beliefs is the subject. That's kind of open, so we'll see what she can elaborate on. Hi, Jasmine. How are you?
Good, thank you. My question to you is there's a lot of Christian schools, Christian private schools up here, and their jobs pay really well. Would you guys compromise your beliefs to get these well-paying jobs in schools, even though you don't believe?
So I think it depends. I don't know. So there are schools where I grew up that are nominally Catholic schools, but they're just good schools. And I think that I would, like, you know, as long as there's no like actual, pledges of faith that you have to make, I would be comfortable teaching there. Insofar as, you know, even Catholic kids deserve a good education, right? I would never want to go work at a place where you have to make a pledge of faith, though. This is less an issue of am I willing to compromise my beliefs for the paycheck, and more, could I actually convince myself to lie like that? Like, because I would be lying, right? You can't just change your beliefs on a whim. So, I mean, I guess if the bag's really good, go for it. But
well, even though I believe, you know, that the schools up here are getting more bold. Not only do they want pledges of belief, but they want you to demonstrate, quote unquote, a Christian lifestyle, and have proof of attendance of church, for example. These things. For some reason, the schools up here are getting more bold, and they're also getting more conservative too. So if you're a kind of Christian that doesn't believe in, beat down of LGBTQ or maybe discriminating or misogyny or that, but these schools, they pay really well. So me personally, I'd be compromised because I'm more left leaning and not as conservative as some of the Christian schools, but they pay so well. I don't know if it's ethical to kind of half lie about your beliefs.
Here's the thing. It's wildly ethical to take money from bad people. That's one of the most ethical things that you can do. So, hey, if you can sneak in under the radar without having to, do anything, this is not legal advice, by the way, sneak under the radar without having to feel bad about yourself, and teach some kids who deserve a good education and take money from rich nut jobs, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't matter what we think. What matters.
I'd be aiming for...
Sorry, go ahead, Jasmine. Sorry.
Well, what if they're because I'd be aiming for science teaching, and what if they're because I kind of specialize in biology. What if they're compromising the science?
Oh yeah, that's tough, right? I mean, if I was in that position, I would probably try to secretly teach it and then get fired. That's probably just what would inevitably happen, because I wouldn't be, it's one thing to lie to your employer. It's another thing to lie to kids.
I don't know if this is relevant or anything, but one of my best friends, geologist, needed a part-time job, started working at a Catholic school teaching science, Catholic elementary school. And he did it for 2 years. And the second year, they told him if he wanted to keep his job, he had to start teaching a second class about Catholicism. Now, he was not a Catholic. He was a Christian, but he was not a Catholic. And he ended up going ahead and teaching the class just because he wanted to keep the job. So, I mean, he didn't feel like it was fair for him to be put into that position, but he really needed the part-time job, so he did it. So what I was going to say is it doesn't really matter what I think about it or what Dr. Blitz thinks about it. What really matters is what you think about it, and how does that fit your moral schematics.
Well, honestly, I kind of feel gross, I don't believe on beatdown of LGBT or misogyny or, and the other thing is I'm divorced, so I don't know, some of these conservatives even discriminate against divorced people. I just feel gross, but they pay so well.
Mhm.
So not trying to convince you or anything, because this is a decision you have to make, but there is value in being a friendly face to, potentially LGBTQ kids in an otherwise hostile environment. That, I don't know this from experience, but I'm very aware through stories that I've heard that, the one teacher at the school who doesn't threaten to call your parents if you are openly LGBTQ is the teacher that a lot of these kids need. So there might be value in that. So that's another thing to consider.
That's true. I guess that's all my only questions. I don't know how you guys, as being complete non-believers, feel about lying about being Christian if you had to be, but
oh well, I couldn't.
It just feels
like I'm
partially lying, like if
I couldn't do it, but it has nothing to do with Christianity. I just couldn't lie.
I couldn't do it because I was bar mitzvahed. They wouldn't believe me.
Any response to that, Jasmine? I know I had a hard time recovering from that one too.
I mean, it's a hard choice, isn't it? Like, it'd be a hard choice for anybody, regardless of belief or not.
Mhm.
Like I said, it does feel kind of gross, but maybe I can make a difference by attending schools that or teaching at schools that I don't necessarily align with. But to me, it's kind of sickening that they're sort of pushing it.
Maybe.
I think you should come by belief willingly and not push it onto kids. But like I said, the money is just so good, at these particular schools, these private schools, and there's a lot of them up here too. At least in this province. This province tends to be very, very conservative.
Keep in mind, the money is so good because they're having a hard time finding good teachers because they're so restrictive. That's like this.
Mhm.
It should. I mean, there's a reason why undesirable jobs tend to pay very, very highly, and it's because they're undesirable. So maybe that means that you shouldn't take the job, even though you could use the money, because you might be miserable.
Or another take on it is you might want to try to take
Sure.
that job for, a couple of months to see how you feel
Yeah.
after 3 months too. And if you feel like you can still stomach it after 3 months, you can stick with it. And if not, you can always move on to something else.
Again, also true. I guess thank you for your perspective. That really is really helped me think about things. I don't really have any more questions.
Well, I
appreciate the call.
Yeah, thank you for calling in, Jasmine. And if you'd like, you can call us back and let us know how things are going for you, how things worked out.